Madridistas, take a deep breath. The new era, under Xabi Alonso, has begun. And the first impression is of a giant learning to walk in new shoes. The narrow victory came. But it wasn't convincing. There was none of the overwhelming brilliance or the attacking fury expected at the Santiago Bernabeu. What we saw was different. It was the birth of an idea, of a philosophy that begins with the foundation. The attack seemed anemic, disconnected, a shadow of the firepower the world knows. In contrast, the defense, there a message was sent to all of Europe. This Real Madrid will be a fortress. Solidity and tactical organization shouted louder than any goal. At the center of the storm of emotions is Vinicius Jr. The man who should have been the pillar of the attack wandered the field listless, generating a wave of unease that grew with each inconsistent performance. The Bernabeu, which once loved him unconditionally, now watches him with a demanding gaze. Let's dive deep into every detail of this suffocating debut. We'll look behind the scenes at a club undergoing a transformation, where an unexpected hero emerges from the defense while a renowned star flirts with crisis. If you live and breathe this badge, get ready. Xabi Alonso's journey has only just begun, and it promises to be an emotional roller coaster, because when Real Madrid takes the field, the world stops and watches. The new era began with the result Real Madrid's playbook demands, a victory. But the 1-0 score line against Osasuna, while functional, tells an incomplete story, a narrative of half-truths that the most attentive fans were able to decipher between the lines of the game. Make no mistake, Madrid fans, Xabi Alonso's first chapter as official coach was a masterclass in pragmatism. We saw a compact, tactically obedient team with a defensive line that operated with the precision of a surgeon. The confidence conveyed by the new back four with Huijsen, Carreras, and Arnold setting the pace was the highlight of the night. Solid, insurmountable. However, from midfield forward, it was a different story. The team fulfilled its mission, but without the spark, the force, or the attacking arrogance that makes Real Madrid a terror for opponents. The spectacle was missing. At the press conference, Xabi Alonso didn't hold back. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. Building a team requires patience, he declared, with the coolness that characterized him as a player. And he's right. The defense, once a point of vulnerability, suffered no scares. The instability of past seasons gave way to near absolute control. The question that hangs in the air is the price of this security. The press was divided. Some praised the maturity and tactical control. Others, more skeptical, warned of the risk of an overly pragmatic era, something that historically irritates fans accustomed to the art of football. Xabi's message is clear: order first, show later. He knows, however, that at the Bernabeu, victories without emotion have a short shelf life. Xabi's Real Madrid have a pulse and have already started winning. If the defense is already functioning at this level, the attack is a time bomb waiting to explode. And speaking of attack, one of its pillars has already triggered the first major warning of the season. While the debate focused on the lackluster attack, a 19-year-old, far from the spotlight of the Galacticos signings, stole the show in spectacular fashion. Dean Huijsen's debut wasn't just good, it was historic. It was one of those moments when the Bernabeu, silently, witnesses the birth of a potential legend. When his name was announced, many turned up their noses. A young defender, coming from Juventus. Without the media cloud of a big name, 90 minutes were enough for all doubts to be dispelled and replaced by a deafening ovation. Huijsen didn't just play, he broke records. In his first official match wearing the world's heaviest jersey, the Dutch defender posted numbers that surpassed the debut of none other than Sergio Ramos, the eternal captain. Let's get to the facts. Highest passing accuracy rate in defense, 98% since 2005. Highest number of disarms in a defender's debut at the Bernabeu in the last 15 years. No fouls committed, no dribbles conceded. The stats are impressive, but it was his attitude that fired up the fans. His calmness in building the game under pressure. His quiet leadership in guiding his more experienced teammates behind the scenes. Xabi Alonso was full of praise. He played with courage, with maturity. He's young, but he understood what it means to defend this shield. The comparison with Sergio Ramos, which could have been a burden, now serves as a beacon. Like his idol, Huijsen has a cool head, an unusual reading of the game for his age, and an instinct for neutralizing attacks. That can't be taught. It's still early, of course, but the impact was real. In a debut where the attack was a concern, it was a 19-year-old who brought the light. The question echoing in Valdebebas is powerful. Has Real Madrid accidentally found its new sheriff? In stark contrast to Huijsen's meteoric rise, The night marked a worrying low point for Vinicius Jr. if Real Madrid won. It wasn't even remotely thanks to the brilliance of his No. 7 jersey. What was seen on the Bernabeu pitch was an unrecognizable version of the Brazilian. Distant from the game, slow in his decisions, predictable in his dribbling, and lacking the boldness that made him one of the most feared players in the world. The truth needs to be told bluntly. Vini is a real concern. The expectation was that, with Mbappé's arrival to share responsibilities and Endrick's presence as a new option, Vinicius would explode. But the opposite happened. In the first test of the season, he was subdued, disconnected, as if speaking a different tactical language than the rest of the team. He was neutralized with alarming ease, made simple mistakes, and most seriously, seemed to lack confidence, afraid to take risks. Behind the scenes, the coaching staff is already working to understand what's going on. Sources assure that there's no physical problem, but rather an emotional and tactical mismatch. Xabi Alonso, a master of positioning, has already identified the core problem. Vinicius is trying to adapt to a new system, where he is no longer the absolute and solitary focus of the attack. He has gone from being the main reference point to becoming part of a constellation, with Mbappé dominating the spotlight and Endrick demanding passage. The Brazilian needs to reinvent himself for a player of pure instinct. This adaptation process can be more painful than it seems. The Spanish press was harsh, disconnected, no impact. Real's Vini didn't show up. The fans, on social media, were unforgiving, questioning his focus and condition, but we must remain calm. Vinicius is the embodiment of resilience. He's been questioned, he's been dismissed, and he's always responded with goals, titles, and stellar performances. The question is, will he be able to adapt to a system that demands more game reading and less individual anarchy, or will he be swallowed up by the new order? One thing is certain, the Bernabeu is demanding, and Vinicius knows he can no longer hide. While the drama unfolds on the pitch, the club's behind-the-scenes heat is on. The transfer window is far from over, and Real Madrid is in the midst of a negotiation that could shake up the very foundations of European football. On one side, Eduardo Camavinga, the versatile jewel of the Meringue midfield. On the other, Ibrahim Konate, Liverpool's defensive pillar and a long-time target of the Blanco board. According to information gathered by the Somos Fanaticos portal, talks between the clubs have made significant progress, and the possibility of a direct exchange between the two players is being seriously considered. But why does this operation make so much sense for both of them? For Real Madrid, the logic is crystal clear. Xabi Alonso wants an elite center-back with a dominant physical profile, speed, and imposition. Konate fulfills all these requirements in spades, being the kind of defender capable of solidifying the wall the new coach wants to build. For Liverpool, which is seeking to overhaul its midfield, Camavinga is seen as the ideal replacement. A player with energy, talent, and enormous potential to be the team's new driving force. The idea is simple, a swap that solves problems for both sides without the need for astronomical sums. However, at Real Madrid, no decision is made without rigorous scrutiny. Sources confirm that Florentino Perez is analyzing the proposal, but demands technical and, most importantly, medical guarantees from Konate, whose history of occasional injury amid tactics, transfers, and the pressure for results. Real Madrid turns to something money can't buy, its soul, and an unlikely name has resurfaced in the halls of Valdebebas. As a symbol of this invisible force, Jeremy Lin. He didn't score goals, didn't provide assists, and was never heralded with fanfare. But at Real Madrid, there are figures whose value transcends statistics. Jeremy Lin is one of them, and his story returned to the spotlight with full force after the team's debut. As highlighted by the newspaper Mundo Deportivo, Jeremy, who became a kind of lucky charm during Carlo Ancelotti's time, was once again cited as an emblematic figure of the unity of the Real Madrid dressing room. Ancelotti considered him his talisman, revealed a source close to the former coaching staff. His presence was synonymous with a relaxed, focused, and above all, united atmosphere. With the arrival of Xabi Alonso, Jeremy's name is back in the spotlight for a clear reason. The new Real Madrid wants to recapture the essence of an armored dressing room, the pulsating Madridista soul, and the inexplicable energy that drives the team through the darkest nights of the Champions League. Jeremy embodies this. In times of multi-million-dollar signings, inflated egos, and overwhelming media pressure, the memory of figures like him serves as a powerful reminder. At Real Madrid, it's not enough to just play football. You have to carry the history, feel the weight of the badge, and honor the mystique. The Xabi Alonso era began with order, but without spectacle. The defense shone brightly, the attack, on the other hand, faded. Vini Jr. is a real and immediate concern. Heisen set the Bernabeu alight with a legendary performance. Behind the scenes, an explosive exchange between Camavinga and Kane could alter the course of the season. This is Real Madrid at its purest. A club where every second matters. Every jersey carries the weight of centuries of glory and pressure. And every player is forced to decide daily whether to be remembered by history or forgotten by it. Here, you either forge a legend or be swallowed by the weight of the shield. Hala Madrid, why not a Maz?